Again, my name is Angela Fullwood. I am the supervisor for family and community engagement. And with us, I'm so excited to talk today about advancement via individual determination, otherwise known as AVID. You all are going to learn all about AVID and what we as Hillsborough County Public Schools has to offer. And today I have the executive director of instructional leadership, and her name is Giselle Zeniger. Giselle, I'm sorry, I'm so tongue-tied right now because I'm so excited. Would you introduce your team and take over?
Absolutely. Hi, everyone. My name is Giselle Leniger Brown. I'm the Executive Director of Instructional Support here in Hillsborough County Public Schools. We have the amazing opportunity to serve through the departments of accelerated programs, instructional materials, and library media services here with instructional support. And with me today, I have Kiana Lane, the supervisor of accelerated programs, and Crystal Scrivener, one of our AVID district resource teachers. And they will be joining me today in our presentation. So as we go ahead and get started, we are going to start off by talking about AVID's mission. And as we go through, and I'm going to hopefully not have any trouble with my computer. There we go. Oh my goodness, it's working. Yay. So AVID, as Ms. Fullwood mentioned, stands for Advancement via Individual Determination. AVID is currently an elective course within our secondary schools here in Hillsborough County. But through AVID, not only do we have a structured curriculum, but we also want to make sure that we follow AVID's mission, and that is to close the opportunity gap by preparing all students for college readiness and success in a global society. And AVID, throughout its years, because it is celebrating its 40th year as a program that's been in schools for 40 years, starting in California, it used to say something very different. It wanted to close the achievement gap, but we know that there's many other things besides the achievement gap that is standing in the way of our students, and that is being able to have those opportunities to be successful. So AVID's mission, it has now to close that opportunity gap for students. So AVID at a glance, as I mentioned, it does stand for Advancement via Individual Determination. It is an elective at the secondary sites here in Hillsborough County, middle and high schools. And we do provide training for teachers on how to support, and we're going to go into further detail about what that training looks like for teachers, but they do offer a set curriculum for your students when they are in that class that really helps support our AVID academic elective students in their core classes. We want to make sure that our teachers are helping prepare the students for any of those opportunities that they want to take advantage of and be that caring adult, but also the students in the AVID classroom also provide a positive peer group for our students as they are making their way through secondary school. So AVID does also have an elementary component to it, and we will also be discussing what that looks like here in Hillsborough County. And in the elementary world, it does not live in its separate elective. It is strategies and methodologies that the teachers can infuse with their grade level, focusing on what we call WICR, which we'll go into a little bit more as the team goes through the presentation. But we want to really focus on some organizational skills, some time management skills, and working to collaborate with each other at the elementary in the elementary world. But then, like I mentioned, in the middle and high school secondary, it is a course that students get to enroll in, an academic elective, as we like to call it, that students will get that support as they are challenging themselves in rigorous academic coursework. There is tutoring that is provided to students 2 days a week through their AVID elective. There is a lot of writing, a lot of reading, and also we want to make sure that we provide them with that college knowledge and support as they explore what post-secondary opportunities they might want to take part in, which could be going to a college or entering the workforce. We want to make sure that we are preparing these students for life, no matter what decision they decide to take on as they move through. So where is AVID in Hillsborough County Public Schools? Currently, we have AVID at 27 of our high schools, 40 of our middle schools, 8K8s, and Rampello is currently our national demonstration school. November 2019, pre-COVID, they became a national demonstration school, and we do currently implement the AVID strategies at 17 elementary schools. In total, through AVID, over 11,000 students are currently being impacted in Hillsborough County. And team Kiana and Crystal, if I am touching on one of your slides, please make sure you cut me off, because you know I will talk the whole time if you let me.
It is all good. I am going to jump in. Hello, good afternoon. Kiana Lane, as Giselle mentioned, the supervisor of accelerator programs, and I'm going to spend some time talking to you all about the AVID elective in the secondary. So thinking about what does AVID look like in both middle school and high school. Giselle. There we go. All right, so what is the AVID elective? The elective is an opportunity for the students to actually have a course out of their 7-period day. So if we think about the traditional schedule in a middle school or a high school, we know that our students take their regular academic courses. So everybody's going to be enrolled in an English, a math, a science, a history course. In addition to those 4, they may have a foreign language course, but the students always have elective opportunities. So that might be a student who decides that they want to take art or PE or AVID. So AVID is one option for the students as it relates to an elective. In the AVID elective, we really focus on teaching the students all about college and getting them ready for college. So you're going to see organizational skills and study skills. They will have an opportunity to be paired with college tutors and with tutorials, as well as motivational activities. So our goal in AVID is to make sure that those students are college ready. So here is what we know a college ready student needs. They need to be able to read and write. They need to have a deep understanding of the content knowledge in all subjects, particularly that reading, writing, thinking, and speaking. And then we also want to make sure that we are helping them develop habits that are skills that they will need that will transition from them with them from middle school to high school and to college, that being the organizational pieces, the study skills, and just the ability to be independent thinkers. AVID does equal student success. I was an AVID elective teacher for many years at Thomas Jefferson High School, and I cannot tell you how many success stories I have. I feel like they're endless almost, just to see my students and what it was that they were able to learn in the AVID elective and take with them to college and beyond. But in the AVID elective, again, we do focus on those organizational skills. We teach social skills that are typically not targeted in other courses. So thinking about what are the expectations when you meet someone? What does it look like to go on a job interview? Things along those lines. In AVID, we do challenge our students to take advanced courses, but with that, we also offer them the additional support that they need by way of tutorials, pairing them with college tutors or even sometimes peer tutors. The AVID elective, the students are highly collaborative. We know that is a skill set that we need as an adult, the ability to collaborate. We also want to expose our students to college. So that might look like a virtual college tour. It could be an actual college field trip in the days when we were actually allowed to travel. In addition, the students do learn about the college entrance process, the applications, their financial aid forms. They have a chance to hear from guest speakers, whether it be about a career path or even additional information about college. But ultimately, our goal is that we are tapping into that each student and what it is that they want to do as it relates to going beyond the middle school years and the high school years. All right, so thinking about what does an AVID student look like? So you can see here, they're at the very top, drive and determination are going to be key, because as Angela started us off, AVID is advancement via individual determination. And we really, really, really want to capitalize on that individual determination piece, because we can have all these strategies and resources and curriculum in place, but ultimately we are looking for that student who desires to take their education to the next level. So drive and determination is going to be right at the top of our list. With that, we do look for students who have a positive outlook or attitude. They are behaving appropriately in school. We take a look at teacher recommendation. Their grades are important, and then you can see their test scores. Each school academic middle looks a little bit different. So our goal really is to target students in the academic middle, but we all know that schools are different. So an academic middle at a Jefferson High School might look different than an academic middle at a Steinbrenner High School. But either way, our goal is to make sure that we are creating opportunities for that student that is in the academic middle at whatever school it is that desires to better themselves in terms of their grades, and ultimately they have the goal of being college and career ready.
So these are just some data points from our last year, where we look at that graduating cohort, that those 639 kids that we just recently had during a very crazy difficult year. And what do they look like? 99.8 of them graduated, that were AVID students, graduated from one of our programs at the 27 high schools. 96% of them completed four-year college entrance requirements. That number is really important, because when we look at four-year college entrance requirements, that doesn't mean that all 96% of them are going into a four-year college or university, but it does mean that those students have options of where they want to go as they leave one of our high schools. 74% of them took one or more AP class, and as Kiana mentioned, that's because the students are getting pushed to challenge themselves academically, but also are provided with that additional support through AVID tutorials and other tutorial and ELP that a school might be able to offer. And 71% of them have been in AVID for 3 or more years. We love seeing that, because we know that has to do with the family atmosphere that AVID creates as the students move from middle school to high school. Many of them will stay with the same high school AVID teacher all 4 years and really build a nice family support group and friendships that are going to last a lifetime. So you see other information on there where 16% of our students that are in AVID are also English language learners, and 49% of them are first generation college going students. So not all of our kids are first gen when they're enter the AVID program, but we know we're here to offer any opportunities to our students as they make a decision on what they want to pursue, whether that be 2-year technical, military, career. We want to make sure that they know what's out there and available for them. And we love also working with our families and providing them with that additional information as well. We can't wait till the days our teachers where they can have those huge family nights where they're providing parents and students with additional resources as well.
Thank you, Giselle. And that data is great. I really get caught up on the graduation rate as well as that 3.9 GPA, average GPA. So how do we get there? This is how. What you have before you is a sample week in the AVID elective. So this is how the week is structured for both middle and high school AVID students. So on Mondays and Wednesdays, you can see when the kids come to class, they have what we call our AVID curriculum. And that curriculum, we'll talk a little bit more about here in a second, but essentially it's Wicker. So the kids have the writing, it's inquiry, collaboration, organization, and reading, all skills that we know that you need regardless of whether you're going to college or whether you're going into career. In addition, the students have strategies for success. College and career is a huge topic in terms of our curriculum. On Tuesdays and Thursdays, I've mentioned this, but we reserve those days exclusively for tutorials. So this is an opportunity for your students to revisit what they are doing in their academic courses. And really the goal is to teach them how to teach themselves, if that makes any sense. Really just getting them to a point where they can be independent learners in the sense of asking and answering their own questions. So we teach them how to think through whatever problems it is that they bring in as potential challenges from their other courses. Those are also the days that we have our college tutors that come in and sit with our groups of students in tutorials. It might be a writing group, and it could also be a Socratic seminar or even just a collaborative study group. And then on that Friday, we reserve it for motivational activities. It's an opportunity for your teacher, our AVID elective teacher, to check in with their that they've completed their planners. It could be an opportunity for field trips. We've been fortunate enough to take our just thinking or FSU or USF. Field trips are a huge component of the AVID elective because we really want to expose our students to not only college or universities, but just the possibilities that are even within our community. And here's the Wicker. So really going to be the core of the AVID curriculum. Again, we have the writing, inquiry, collaboration, organization, and reading, all skills that we know are life skills that the kids are going to need in middle school and high school and beyond. But some samples of what you can expect to see in the AVID elective as it relates to writing, whether it's a quick write or the students taking their focus notes or completing learning logs, inquiry, thinking about skilled questionings, quick writes and discussions, open-minded activities, really challenging them to think outside of the box. Collaboration is huge. Again, we know that in order to be a successful adult, you need to have the ability to collaborate with one another. So group projects, study group, jigsaw activities, organization is also key. So holding the students to a standard of utilizing their binder and making sure that the planner is complete and they're not, just writing it in and putting away, but checking it and interacting with their notes. And then finally, that reading. Think alouds, critical reading. It could be KWLs, so seeing what the students know about a topic, having them reflect on what they want to know and what it is that they've learned in the end. So the core of our curriculum is Wicker.
Okay, thank you so much, Kiana. I have the pleasure about talking about AVID Elementary. So AVID Elementary is a little bit different because Kiana and Giselle had stated that for secondary, it is an actual elective. In elementary, these strategies are embedded best practices throughout the school day. So you might have math, science, they're all using the strategies. It's not an elective, but the main focus is organization and responsibility. So it starts young. I know if you have elementary age school children, they come home probably every night with you, their agenda for you to sign. So that starts their organization. We really try to instill with our AVID elementary schools the philosophy on learning and also becoming lifelong learners. And the key here is that it is for all students because it is embedded throughout their school day. So the four main components of AVID Elementary are student success skills, organization, the Wicker lessons, and then also partnerships. And we will discuss that in the next coming slides. If you look at our AVID Elementary sites, we do have 17 elementaries. And then we also have 5 of the K-8s. We actually do have 8 K-8s, but these ones specifically have them in both elementary and the secondary world.
And just to add to Crystal, talking about our schools, every elementary school does implement it a little differently. So we might have some that focus on the 5th grade and implementing AVID Elementary strategies in the 5th grade that will prepare the students as they move on to 6th grade. So it just depends on the school and what grade levels they are implementing their AVID Elementary strategies. Some try to do it all in kindergarten through 5th, but some try to stay within those upper grade levels.
Absolutely. Thank you, Giselle. So here are our AVID Elementary frameworks. What we stress is especially the organization. So the agendas, the planners, organizational tools, and then also note-taking strategies. If you can kind of think back to your own schooling, it might be hard or difficult for you to think, which teacher taught me how to take notes? So I love AVID because it does set up the framework on not just jotting down everything. It really shows the students how and why to take notes. The next part is the Wicker, which Kiana had mentioned. So we're talking about our writing to learn, inquiry, collaboration, organization, and then our reading to learn. And then some very, very important student success skills, the communication skills with writing, speaking, and listening, study skills, time management, and goal setting. So starting them very young on managing their time, right? Because homework gets a lot harder as you progress through the secondary when you become a senior and taking all these very difficult, challenging classes. And then the last part is partnerships within the site, within the district, partnering with the home and community. We have some very great partnerships even within our surrounding communities with colleges such as USF, FAMU. So we do offer those opportunities to our elementary students as well. And I know Kiana had shown the Wicker, what that looks like in the secondary. So it is very similar, but we kind of focus on core aspects of each of the Wicker. So reflection tools, levels of thinking and questioning for inquiry, collaboration, getting them to work together as a team where they have group roles, and then also study buddies. And then an organization may look different from site to site, but everybody is using an agenda for the most part. The binders are a key implementation for most of our elementary schools. Note-taking strategies, goal setting, time management, and then once again, reading. And then here are our targeted focus areas. We would like to provide equal access to all students, develop their organizational skills so that whenever you have your kids come home, we don't see papers in the bottom of their backpack. I know some of you probably are experiencing that right now. And then instill student success skills and really inspire their belief in rigor and success. And then, like I said, the lifelong learning. And the last part, it says smoother transition and increased articulation across the feeder patterns. Our department, accelerated programs, we had a wonderful event this year in the summer where we had transition camps. So AVID is a part of that and getting the students to participate. So your middle schools would have had a transition camp from the 5th graders, and then the high schools would have had transition with the 8th graders. So if your child for next year is moving into the next level, middle and or high, we do have the transition camps that AVID does participate with. And then the last part of AVID Elementary is really to identify the students to go move on to the middle school and be in their AVID elective. And here are just some cute examples of our student binders. And we have over to the left, that's our successful students. So the elementary kiddos, they get to decorate their student. And it's just wonderful to see some of these strategies. Everything nice and neat. And some more examples. We have our beginning of note-taking and some of our other success strategies. So our next steps, what can you do? Applying for the AVID elective. So you could discuss with your child that you heard about AVID and maybe get their thoughts on if your school offers it. Each of our schools, we have an AVID coordinator that you can reach out to, and then also guidance would be very helpful in this selection process.
So we do have a video that we'd love to show if we can get it to play, and we're going to hope that technology works with us and cooperates so that we can show this great video so AVID every summer, or a traditional summer, non-COVID summer, holds these huge institutes all over the country where teachers will come out, get professional development for a few days, Students are a part of that. They're selected as student leaders to come out, and we've had the pleasure of hosting for the last couple of years prior to COVID here at the Tampa Convention Center, thousands of teachers from all across the country that would come learn and get to hear powerful stories from AVID students and how AVID has impacted them. And this is just a video compilation of some of those success stories.
Before, I would not even dare think about furthering my education because in the eyes of many, I was just part of the high school dropout.
Did I lose the video?
Yes.
Oh, darn. Okay. Was it playing okay prior to it going away?
Yes.
Okay, so I will hit.
Before, I would not even dare think about furthering my education because in the eyes of many, I was just part of the high school dropout statistic.
I thought I could never seriously think about attending college. College was out of my reach.
I live in society's prejudice about my skin color and poverty.
I was told I wouldn't amount to anything and given limits by people saying I would drop out and never graduate.
I'm a Haitian American male from a single parent household who has lived in relative poverty.
Feeling alone in a challenging journey is a very, very difficult one. But sometimes the moment when you feel most alone and something unexpected appears to help. That for me was AVID.
Thanks to AVID, I'm able to visualize my future, and that pushes me to do better.
I had to believe in myself, and that's exactly what AVID taught me.
AVID has taught me that coming to school is more than just an exit slip out of high school. It's pushed me to take more rigorous classes to prepare myself for college and a career.
If I wanted to accomplish my dreams, I would have to do it on my own. AVID changed this.
AVID is a family that I could depend on.
I was pushed to become better, and that potential tied up inside me all of these years finally burst through.
AVID was there when I first took on the challenge of AP classes. AVID was there when I went to my first college tour. And AVID was there when I did not know what on earth SATs were.
I made a promise to myself that I will never be a statistic, and thanks to AVID, I'm not.
No matter where you come from, there is always hope in achieving your dreams and obtaining a college education.
I will not be a victim of circumstances. I will go to college and make my dreams come true.
I have to worry about protecting my eyes because my future is extremely bright.
I'm a testament to the power of AVID and what the AVID system can do. As a result, I was attending the University of Notre Dame in pursuit of a biomedical engineering degree.
AVID family helped me so that no one else can decide my path in life. Like the name says, I have learned to advance via individual determination.
Because of AVID, I'm limited.
I have proven my achievement, and because of AVID, I now have a lifelong advantage. I will be attending the University of California at Santa Cruz to pursue a bachelor's degree in bioengineering. This fall, I will attend California State University Long Beach as a presidential scholar in their honors program.
I will defy the odds. I will defy the statistics. And I will advance via my individual determination at Harvard.
Thank you for showing me that I can transcend what society expects of me and become whatever I want to be. Thank you.
So that is our presentation that we have for you guys, and we would love to be able to answer any questions. I'm not going to turn on my camera because I'm wiping my tears here.
Are you too? Oh my gosh.
It's been
Oh
a
my
while
goodness.
since I've seen that video, so it is a great video, and we would love to be able to answer any questions that you guys have now for us.
Thank you for that. Oh my goodness. I did
And
have tears in my eyes too, Giselle and team. Oh my goodness, because it just reminded me, I was when you all were presenting, and I don't want to like start crying on everybody, but just my daughter was in AVID. She was introduced to AVID many years ago, and she was a student who, you know, I know y'all said middle, but she wasn't middle. She was more lower, and was exposed to AVID, and she had been a 504 ADHD without the hyperactivity student. And when she went to AVID, it taught her a lot of those organizational skills that you all were talking about. Not only the inquiry and the working in groups, because when she went off to college, she was on a softball scholarship. So she had to learn how to work with other people. And in college, there's a lot of group work and things like that. But the organization, because she used to be all over the place. And even today, as a mother, 26-year-old, she's a teacher, has a master's degree, I still see all of the organization. She has calendars, you know, her daughter has certain days and she knows where she's going. I know I want to attribute, you know, my skills as a great mother, and my husband and I as great parents, that she went off to college and did well. But I want to say that AVID course is what helped her be successful. Like, I know I pushed her. She had to have that self-determination, but that AVID course was systematic in doing what it did to help her be successful. So families on here, I just want to, I'm a living testimony of a natural person who, you know, and you see all of those backstories. My daughter is one of those backstories as well. So I just want to say thank you, AVID, for being around to help in my life. And so with that, I want to, there are a lot of questions that we have in the chat, so I want to get started with that. I'm sorry for being so personable, but it just,
thank you for sharing.
It really had me in tears. All right. So,
and Angela, before we jump into those questions, I
yeah.
just really want to highlight one thing that I continue to hear as those students were sharing their stories, and just thinking back to my days as an AVID coordinators. It's such a family. It really is. It truly is like a home away from home for those students who have an opportunity to be connected to an AVID program. They love on one another. They support each other, from the teachers to the students, and it continues. You know, my AVID students now, who are adults with bachelor's degrees and master's degrees in children, it's just been a wonderful thing to see those students start from, as you described your child, and progress through life and able to achieve just from the foundation that AVID provided. So thank you for sharing.
Thank you. All right, so I had a question. It says, can you explain about scholarship and college admissions? And that's anyone from the panel, if they can.
Oh, sorry. So, and I kind of see the theme in some of the questions as we're going through. I was kind of doing a quick scan. We work very closely with our district and each school's guidance department. So the AVID coordinator or and elective teachers at a school, because there are some schools that do have more than one AVID teacher just because of the volume of kids that want to enroll in the AVID elective. So they do work collaboratively with the guidance department to get any updated scholarship information, college information that is coming, and the students will work on that information. Us as a team here in the Department of Accelerated Programs do try to push out as much, any new information we get from the guidance team here at the district, that they're phenomenal folks. We try to make sure that we keep our AVID coordinators current as well, so that they can share that. So, but again, some of it is available on our school district website. If you go to the school district website, go type in guidance or type in scholarships, the September scholarship matrix is available on our school district website, and they update that every month with all the new scholarship opportunities that are out there. Our AVID teachers do, at the high school level especially, try to stay current with some financial aid information, or bring in guest speakers so that they can try to update students on those processes as well. So for the biggest suggestion I would make is keep up with some of that information that our school district and our guidance student services team makes sure to stay keeps up to date. They do a great job of providing that information out.
Great. Okay, next question is, does the AVID elective teacher engage with each of the students' teachers to facilitate additional supports for a child if a child is struggling in, I guess, another teacher's class?
Yes, they do. So the AVID elective teacher coordinator is very active in the school community. In most cases, they serve as a leader on their campus. So in addition to connecting with the teachers and seeing what the individual student needs are and finding ways to support students that are struggling, they are charged with providing professional development to the teachers so that the teachers are aware of what the AVID strategies are, because we know that AVID strategies are good for all students, right? Not just the students that are in the AVID elective. So we do prepare our coordinators to provide those additional layers of support and professional learning opportunities to the teachers at their sites.
And with anything, this year, we had a lot of brand new AVID teachers in our district to some of our schools. So they might just be getting, warmed up to reach out to teachers at their site. Our AVID coordinators do develop what we call AVID site teams at their school, where they get representatives from each department or grade levels to work with them and help support. And they try to figure out what are some needs at our school. They work very closely with their administrative staff and their guidance staff to try to determine some points of focus so that they can support the students and the teachers as well. We do have some schools that develop AVID clubs at their site, where students that are not able to fit the AVID elective into their schedule, because that happens sometime, can join an AVID club and be a part of that, and also take advantage of any guest speakers or field trips or additional information that the AVID coordinator has made available to students. Some of our teachers, and again, I'm speaking generally, but we do have some schools where they'll run some tutoring sessions during lunch, or they'll stay to do ELP with students after school. So it does depend on that particular school, but we do try to get them to engage with the staff at their schools to provide needed supports. All our schools are licensed AVID schools, which means all the teachers can have accounts to the AVID resources available in AVID's online portal. So a lot of our teachers do have accounts to what we call the My AVID system, where they can go in, look up resources, strategies, and be able to use them with their kids as well. One of the questions that I saw was asking about particular AVID teachers or AVID enrollment at schools. Our biggest recommendation for that is look on your school's website, see who the AVID teacher is in the faculty list, or email your student's counselor and let them know that you would like a little bit more information of AVID or the availability of AVID space in the AVID classroom. That would be a point to start off there to figure out if you could get your student enrolled in the AVID elective, if there's room, if you got to wait until next semester. We do have some programs that have waiting lists, not all of them, but and some that are rolling in admissions into the AVID elective. So just working with your student's guidance counselor is our recommendation for that one.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you for that. Next question is, can you explain, like, even having a GPA of 4, SAT score of 1500, selection in these sort of desired courses, and college still does not happen? In your experience in high school, I know some of you have been high school teachers. What could be the missing factor in that?
So I am not a college admissions officer, but I do know, after spending many years in a high school, that and seeing students off to college, that the colleges look beyond just the GPA and the test scores. They really do evaluate the student as a whole. So one of the things that we really encourage our AVID students to be are well-rounded. So what additional things are the students involved in beyond just participating in the advanced courses, making the grades, and having the test scores? They need to have something that sets them apart, right? Because a lot of students are participating in advanced courses, have great GPAs and have great test scores, but are they leaders in the community? Have they done service hours? Are they, connected to a sports team or club or an organization? But really building their resume beyond just the academic component can really benefit them when it's time to apply for college.
Great, great, great. Thank you for that. All right, so what grade do you suggest for a student to start AVID?
That would really be dependent on each individual student and when they see that need. Like we mentioned, AVID does start in 6th grade. Almost every student will get a chance to experience it on the wheel during 6th grade, which is fantastic, right? They'll get a little taste of what AVID has to offer, and then they can decide if they're going to select it as one of their elective courses. And it really does depend on the availability of the AVID program and whether or not a student can fit that into their schedule. So there are a lot of what we hear from students is like, well, I was an AVID in 7th grade. I don't think I need it in 8th grade or 9th grade, maybe not 10th grade. But the curriculum does scaffold as it moves through, and it does offer very different things at each of the grade levels as it is preparing the students for those next steps. So it does offer, AVID 11th and 12th grade is very, very heavy on the college admissions, planning, financial aid. A bulk of the curriculum does focus on that to get the students well prepared for those next steps.
And then another question is, can any student enroll in AVID? I know we talked about the middle student, and for me, I want to know what the middle student, what does that mean? That's my question. Middle student is my question, but can any student enroll?
Yes, I mean, there is an application process, and that does kind of vary from site to site. But it could vary from student to student. I also taught AVID at the middle school level. So I had very, very high achieving students, but they needed my support for a very, very different reason that someone might need me for reading or writing kind of strategies or organization strategies. So really, any student can be an AVID candidate. It really just depends on their determination, their motivation for success. And I did put in the chat my email. So I know we're getting questions about specific teachers, specific programs, specific schools. So you can reach out to me, crystal.scribner@hcps.net, and I can connect you with that school's coordinator.
And I think you answered this question, but I want to make sure, what is the best way to get your child enrolled? I think you went through that, Giselle, because you just repeated one more time the best way to get your child enrolled in AVID.
Absolutely. So if a couple ways, they could be finding out who the AVID coordinator is or elective teacher is at that school and shooting them a quick email. My child would be interested. They could help connect that student with guidance and help get that ball rolling. It could be reaching out to the guidance counselor, school counselor at the site and expressing interest in having the child enroll in AVID. Again, one of the biggest things is that determination piece. They need to want to be in AVID because there's going to be some work to be done there. Because even I had a 6th grader last year who's like, I don't need to be an AVID. And I'm like, your backpack says otherwise, ma'am. And your organizational study skills say otherwise. So, and this year she is not an AVID, but because a student has to want to be in that elective to get the most out of that class. She'll probably be in it next year, trust me, because her grades are slipping. So we're going to make sure that we try to support every student who's in there that is ready to learn, ready to take on the challenges of what AVID has to offer, and push themselves outside the box a little bit when it becomes, time to do some public speaking activities, some, research on colleges and careers and get a chance to present to their peers. Those are great skills to start learning in early middle school, early high school, because as they move through, it's going to be a great opportunity for them. So contacting the school, whether it's the counselor, the APC, or the teacher themselves to find out what that availability is. Or if it's something we're going to wait till next year, wait until that course selection sheet comes with your child home and make sure that you're going through with them and selecting courses that are going to be appropriate for them. AVID is almost always on that course selection sheet.
Yes, and speaking of course selection sheet, as a parent, I know the schools are always trying to foster independence of high schoolers, but as a parent, and we know about, and as an educator, brain-based learning, that our brains are not fully developed until about age 25. So we as parents really should not allow our students to make adult decisions. And I want to say, you know, for me, when I heard about AVID, I enrolled my daughter in AVID because I knew, based on what I learned about AVID, that this was going to be a helpful course for her. She didn't want to be in AVID, but I checked off on her course selection. You are taking AVID. Like, she didn't have a choice, because I knew what her future, she had desires of her future. I knew what her desires were, and I wanted her to be successful. And that was something I couldn't help her with, because I did not have the skills of, you know, a child who's random abstract, you know, abstract random. And, you know, a lot of people who are concrete sequential doesn't understand the mind of that abstract random child. So you can't help them. So I didn't give them a choice. And so, yes, you do listen to your children, what are their wants, what are their needs, but when you know your child best, you make those, I'm just saying, you make those decisions. You are in charge of your child. So, and then I had a question about, do all schools have AVID program availability? I know you went through the schools that had it at the beginning on one of the slides. Can you just kind of talk about that?
So it really does depend on a school right now. You know, some of our programs are busting at the seams where they just had to do some adjustments to, you know, increase a section here or a section there. It really all depends. When we have, you know, every single mostly all of our high schools, mostly all of our middle schools have AVID programs. Again, it's reaching out to see what the availability is to change that and making sure that it works with a child's schedule and it doesn't conflict with some of those other courses that they're in, right? It's very tricky in high school when, you know, that's the period, maybe another course they're in that they need for graduation, or, you know, an orchestra or what have you. We got to make sure that it fits within their schedule. So it might not be, it fits right now. It might be something that you plan for next semester or even the following year.
So there was someone who's sharing the same situation as you, that their daughter was not willing to take AVID this year. What would you suggest? They want any input on how you can change the child's mind? Like, are you changing your daughter's mind about taking AVID?
My daughter, actually, it was a weird situation. She's transitioned to a new middle school. And she was in AVID. If she would have stayed at her old middle school, she would have stayed in the AVID program. She had formed a very close relationship and bond with that teacher there. This year, she's new at her middle school. And so she was trying a couple of other things. She wanted to be in orchestra, that was it. And she wanted to also take Spanish, for beginner Spanish, so she can take high school level Spanish next year. So we're planning. So see, we're even using some of the things we learned in AVID to start planning for what her 8th grade year was going to look like. One of the things I do recommend to parents when they ask about a child being hesitant is meet the teacher. Go visit the classroom, go see what it's like, talk to some of the other friends. We always say that our AVID students are the best recruiters for an AVID program. We'll start seeing schools hopefully this year. You know, again, last year was a crazy year. Start having some little recruitment things around Christmas time and January as students are filling out their course selection sheets. But meet the teacher, figure out who the teacher is, what are some things they have going on, see if they have an AVID club. You know, right now we're in the midst of planning some info sessions with colleges. The teachers are planning their own things, guest speakers. So it might be just getting a taste for what AVID is offering at her school right now and seeing who the teacher is. Our teachers are phenomenal, and they're willing to, you know, answer any questions a student or a parent might have about their program. So Angelica, we can definitely work with you and see, give you some pointers. Crystal, if you email Crystal, get your information. We can talk to you about more things we could help with.
Sorry, there was this question in the Q&A about special needs students need AVID. And it says, sorry, I'm really confusing this program need for special needs students or improved communication skills. This is not that type of course, is what we're saying. I was just saying my child had a 504 because of her ADHD diagnosis without the hyperactivity. And I could not teach her skills to help her be organized because she was all over the place because of the ADHD. This course helped her. So it's not a special needs course. It's actually, I don't know, it's just strategic, motivating. I don't know, it's just because a stepchild like my daughter was not motivated because of the ADHD, not being able to pay attention, felt like a failure sometimes. And it wasn't because she couldn't do, it's just because of, you know, her mind. Could you just talk about, like, this is not a program for special needs students, but
Right.
special needs students do benefit from it. Is this, so could you talk a little bit about that?
So I think sometimes, unfortunately, AVID is confused with other programs, right? Our goal is, as we've stressed, ultimately, we want to prepare students for college and career readiness. And in most cases, that is the middle of the road student that we're targeting. So that average student with maybe average grades and average test scores that has the potential and the determination to get to that next level. It's not a course for remediation for remedial students or specifically for special needs students. It does not mean that we can't service a student if they have a special need, but it is designed to service holistically that student that's going to be in your academic middle.
And if there is, oh, sorry, I was just going to say, if there is a child with special needs, that's when, you know, meeting with the guidance counselor, meeting with the teacher, you can see if it's a right fit.
And we have, in our 14 years of having AVID in the district, have seen students from all walks of life, all types of needs or potentials and situations, walk through AVID classrooms, be incredibly successful, really take what AVID has to offer and enrich them. Angela, you shared about your daughter. So we definitely, we've seen a little bit of everything, and we just want, you know, continue having that support for students who just need that additional motivated college and career going push as we work with the students here in Hillsborough County.
I think that is all. I think the other questions Crystal was able to answer in the chat directly to. If there are any more questions, you may ask now. If not, I'll give it to closing remarks, Giselle.
So Angelica, yes, there is a way you can be involved in the AVID community. One of the things that we always have a need for are AVID tutors in our AVID classroom. That is a position that we have here in Hillsborough County. Every single middle school and high school that has an AVID program has at least 2 district-funded AVID tutors. They work about 20 hours a week. And right now we have several AVID positions available all over the district as our teachers are trying to find individuals. Some of them are retired teachers, some of them are current college students, some of them are parents, stay-at-home parents who just want to work a couple hours a week but be involved in their student's school or school community. And taking advantage of becoming an AVID tutor is a great way to do that. So that information can be found online. The positions are advertised, but we can also send that information in an email, Angelica, if you would like, because we are always looking for AVID tutors in the AVID classroom. So
yes, so you could shoot me an email and I can send you. Okay, or there it is. I see your email. I will send you some information. Okay, I'll send you a flyer.
Someone said that it's not a question. They just want to say that their daughter is an AVID at her high school and it's phenomenal.
Ooh,
Going to give a shout out.
awesome. Thank you, Laura. We love to hear that.
All right. Well, thank you all for being with us, and thank you, AVID team, for that wonderful presentation and overview of AVID. We hope that some of you, some of the parents will really talk to your child, talk to the school counselors, talk to your middle school counselors about enrolling their child in this AVID, and find out if your school, we had the list of elementary schools. If you are in elementary school, saw several elementary schools here. So if you should see it. I've had the pleasure of going over the Rampello and seeing it at work, and it is phenomenal. I just wish my daughter had that access during elementary. She didn't have to wait until high school to get those skills, but hey, it still served her. She got it in high school and it still served her well throughout her whole college career, through her bachelor's, through her master's, and now as a mother, it just through life as an adult. So thank you for that. And with that, any last words from our team?
We just appreciate everyone's time and great questions, and please feel free to reach out to us if you want any more information. We're available. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Again, this session is being recorded and it will be posted on our YouTube page. If you subscribe, you will get a notification when any of our other power hours are shown. If you want to go ahead right now, if there are any other topics that you would like to hear from us, go ahead and put it in the chat so that we know and we can coordinate those particular power hours. Mercedes has posted our YouTube page, and just any subject area, go ahead and type it in there if you would like to hear about it. But with that, you all have a great rest of the day. Take care.